How's it going, Virgo community? Now you know who it is. It's Soul Tigress with a wonderful story for this wonderful frequency. So, woo! Thank you so much for waiting so patiently for your story and being the number 12th up this time around. So, for 1212, divine timing is at work. Be open to the flow. Yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen here. So, first off, foremost, thank you for your time, your energy, your patience as I navigate this story between the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between. Remember that this is a safe and sacred space where we call in the angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy to come on in and be the guides and protectors for all the positive messages that are going to come out. Now, with that being said, that this is not Love Tarot. This channel here is geared around building the stepping stones to our soul being. These stepping stones of empowerment. And why do we want to get to the soul being? Because it helps connect us to a higher power. So let's go ahead and get started with the vibe. You know, now that I look at this 12-12, divine timing is at work, be open to the flow, it matches what I'm picking up so far. Now, Virgo, something is going at a snail's pace for you. This pace could be something that is making you feel defeated, building resentment because something hasn't come to fruition for you. Does this have something to do with a betrayal? And due to this betrayal, you feel like you've been trapped. And now you have to do, it seems like, 10 times the workload as before. Now this I heard, and I quote, could less be more, end quote. And with that one, definitely we got some ancestral energy chiming in. And what they're trying to say is maybe this multitasking. Yes, your workload has gotten so much more heavier, but could you make it a little lighter by avoiding multitasking? You know, just doing one thing at a time and less overspending and more budgeting. Ooh. And then we had something with communication and or thinking. I'm not sure what happened this month, but it could be that you're confused on the lack of communication that you're having from whatever happened. You're not getting an explanation. Maybe it came out of nowhere. Maybe the rug was pulled from under your feet. I'm not sure, but either there's no communication or they're not something, someone, someplace. They're just kind of breadcrumbing you when it comes to communication. They're not really giving you the answers you're looking for. Working through this recent departure that was unexpected, picking up the pieces, one piece at a time, using a creative outlet to release all that has built up from this situation. And this is so that you can start to move forward, because what I get here is Gemini. Why am I saying Gemini? Well, Gemini is also communication, because it is represented by, and I'm going to double check right here, Mercury. Virgo, you're represented by Mercury as well. Communication and how we think. Now, Gemini That's going between two extremes right there. Maybe somehow you're going through some extremes as well. Oh my goodness. But what I was going to say is that creativity, it could be painting, it could be building something. But what it is, it could be dancing, it could be so many things. It's just getting you to express this built up energy and being able to express it in a healthy way, because when you start to pile it in and you don't let anything out, that load on our shoulders gets heavier and it gets harder to bear it as well. So be open. Be open to doing something. I'm not sure. Again, it could be with some type of art. It could be cooking. It could be some kind of dancing, choreography kind of stuff. I'm not sure. Singing. Learning a musical instrument. Something that's going to help give you a break from whatever it is that you've had to double up on the load. All right, so I got the Cosmic Insight Oracle. Things seem to be really backwards for this frequency. So let's go ahead and see what's going to come out. Ancestors and spirit guides. What needs to come out for the introduction? Vacation. You will be traveling here soon. Maybe you need to get out. Maybe photography is your type of thing. Could be painting landscapes. Could be just being out in the wilderness. Something we're not seeing. Something that you're also at odds ends with. Moving on. Someone is unable or unavailable. A waste of time. It's over. Maybe this is why you need to get out. You need to start experiencing life in a different way. Moving forward again. Healing. Could be finding something new that you wanted to do. And you could never do it before because you always had something, someone, someplace holding you back. This may be the time to start exploring it. And so we're confused on a liar. Be careful of someone sneaky. Now this kept coming up when I was doing the cleansing of the cards right away. That's why I got that word betrayal in there. And then with that Mercury energy, it was coming down to some communication. Something was happening. And sometimes we get stuck on wanting people to give us an answer for why they're doing what they're doing. A business to own up. Own up that it needs to do something different. And it never does. It never does. And because of that, it's almost like it takes a piece from us. We'll end up bitter. We'll end up mad. We'll end up resentful. And what you don't see is that you had love goggles onto this. What else you didn't see? It was a bad choice. It was a bad choice. You could have had this love goggles on. And because of that, you ignored a lot of the red flags. You kept trying to say, hey, you know, maybe tomorrow will be different. You know, maybe if we put a plan in, we put a routine in, and we work at it, because Virgos are very hard workers. This is going to work out. It's going to improve. It's going to get better. It's going to become everything I was hoping it to become. You took a chance here. But what I heard is this chance turned around and bit you in the butt. Oh my goodness. And then I heard that saying, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. And somebody did. Oh man, I think, Virgo, somebody else tried to tell you about this person. You didn't want to see it. You wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, they sweet talked you. They was a silver-tongued, yellow-belly devil. They was not in, well, they were in it to win it, but they were in it to win it for themselves. Everything was about them. Even the very first step towards you, towards whatever, or them even opening the door to you, was never about you. It was always about them. And there's like an ancestor here who wants to make that clear to you. Because what I get is there's a gen that sits off by themselves, and they could be saying stupid, 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 stupid. How come this? How come that? Why didn't I this? Stupid, 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 stupid. And it's not that. You could have been innocent. You could have not been exposed to this type of energy before. And sometimes we have to learn to protect ourselves by being exposed to certain things. And this could be that thing, whatever you were building, whatever was being worked on. I mean, let's be honest, is it really the ideal outcome if you have something, someone, someplace that wants you to revolve your whole life around them? Because that's what a narcissist energy is. Nothing's gonna function that way. This again was a big gamble. It was a big gamble. You were taking a chance here. Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. But you, what is that quote? You learn. You learn to do something different for the next day. If you choose, but you have to move on. So let's go ahead and start with the present. It feels like a circus here. So I have my Cirque Du Tarot to get started. So, angels and divine and universal energy, what is it that needs to come out for the present, for the Virgo community? Here it is. The Lovers. And I almost called Virgo Gemini again before that card popped out. Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Let's talk about Gemini. I think the Lovers. Again, we got Mercury here. Mutable energy. Virgo, you're mutable energy. So you have this in common with Gemini, just like you have the planet in common with Gemini. What is mutable energy? Mutable energy is the ending of cycles. Your season where you get to harvest, because it's the ending of the cycle. It's the ending of the summer. We got the fall season, the harvest season, which Virgo resides in. And for Gemini, it's the ending of spring, making way for the summertime to come in. So here we have a big ending energy. And this kind of brings it back to the Pisces 12th house as well, because I'm doing the cycle of stories where we're doing that new moon in Pisces. And it's the ending old cycle, preparing for new. Right here, you're having to learn something. And the reason why you're being faced with it, and you're feeling it so much, is because your full moon was this month as well, which is self-examination and improvement for your house, which is the 6th house. In order for you to be able to do more for you, to improve you, you have to put an end to something here, whatever this is. It's a partnership that's just not working. And then I have this 9 of Swords. I feel like with this 9 of Swords coming under the liar and the gambling, you know, you don't know how to move on, how to take a chance, how to take a risk, how to even go off in a new direction to where you can maybe start somewhere else again. Might even be hard for you to get up, like to have motivation right now. Your motivation may be a little bit low. Is it low because you're feeling really, really unbalanced right now? Unbalanced by what has happened. I don't know if you have confronted it yet, or if you've kind of just tried to dismiss it, try to just kind of bury yourself in everything so you don't really see what's happening here. That's what I'm wondering, Virgo. See, there I go. I almost called you Gemini again. I don't know what's going on with this Virgo energy, though. The Chariot. Yeah. There's just no movement happening here. We're really upset. We don't know which way to go. And we're really stuck in just one way of seeing things. One way of feeling. Maybe we don't want to feel, and that's why not much wants to come out. Then I have this 3 of Wands. Whatever happened with this betrayal, it has rocked you to the core. It's almost like you've dug your heels in and you want to be stubborn with a lot of things as well. But this stubbornness has done nothing for you, but just left you out of balance, left you over-focused on whoever this narcissist was. Maybe you don't even view this person as a narcissist either. Maybe that's where you're confused on it. Maybe you're still giving this person the benefit of the doubt. Maybe somehow you could be self-blaming here. There's a lot in the mind going on, and you're only stuck in the one direction. And with the love spell and the love goggles on, a lot of times we can blind ourselves to the actions of others. And this King of Cups. I feel like with this King of Cups energy, you really thought that whoever this was, they were more mature than what they actually were. Maybe you've seen however successful this other was at whatever they were doing before, and you really thought that this partnering, this grouping, this working together, this collaboration, this relationship would be able to do something. But the whole thing is, one of the red flags of this person, place, or thing was how much they're really just out for themselves, really just focused on themselves. I mean, this person could have a particular habit that they really they really, really like a lot. And it could be something that has a hold of their Achilles tendon when it comes to being successful. You have people who will be brilliant at the things that they do, but they can never do more. They can never be better because they are attached to a certain kind of habit, coping mechanism, something like that. I think you're kind of confused on that. Do you blame yourself for their habit? It's kind of not your fault. That's their habit. They have their free will. Don't forget that. Well, you did your best to hold on. You did your best to hold on. But again, this isn't the investment for you with this Ace of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles here. I mean, one of you could, again, been the one, you, Virgo in particular, was the one who was trying to manage a lot, trying to keep things together. But on the other side of things, you had this other energy who was overspending, who was basically, you would set something in one spot and they would knock it over and it would break, kind of thing. Whatever you tried to do, somehow they went behind you and it turned out different. But what I get is they were destroying stuff. They could have been destroying stuff and trying to somehow blame it on you. That's what I get, because if we got narcissistic energy here, then that's what's going to happen. Because remember, narcissists don't know how to acknowledge what they're doing. Alright, so what else needs to come out? I have this Nine of Pentacles. Oh, man. What I get is this person, they're not good. They're not good with stability. They're not good with security, securing things, keeping things stable, understanding the routine that must be managed to keep things afloat. This person, again, they disregarded a lot of stuff. I see a lot of receipts. I see a lot of invoices here. I see a lot of stuff that this person was accumulating. And they kind of just had their backs to whatever living within their means was supposed to be. This person doesn't do that. They don't think about it. This business doesn't think about it. If it's a business, this business makes very poor financial decisions. It could be a business that when they pay their employees, checks are bouncing. And you will have, I never had this happen, but I've heard stories when I used to work in childcare that well-known daycares would pay their employees, and their employees would have to rush to go cash their checks because the company was notorious for having employees' checks bounce when they tried cashing them. So it could be something like that, or again, this is a partner who really disregards the financial budget here in a sense. Maybe this is also why gambling's out. This person could have a bad gambling habit. Four of Cups. Yeah. You've been waiting on this person to do something new. You've been waiting on this person to basically pull their head out of their butt. this place to pull its head out of its rear, this boss to get it together. You know, sit down, do what you're supposed to do, take care of your responsibilities too. Man, have you waited and waited and waited. All right. Last card for the present. Ooh, last few cards. Yeah, you figured if you gave it more time, things will work out. But this is why the resentment's building up. This is also why you yourself have become closed off, Virgo, is because you've gotten stuck in the routine of this, that this is all you expect in life now. Yeah, see? Judgment on the type of abundance that you can have. And that judgment, remember, is in reverse. For some reason, this has really torn at you. Whatever this is, it's definitely torn at you, and it makes you feel less than what you are. Maybe that's been this one's MO. You can get businesses like that where you can be years in your career, and then you go off and work for this new business, still doing the same career, and they treat you like you don't know anything. You can be so many years old and be in a relationship with a family member. It doesn't have to be intimate. A family member, a partner, even a spouse, co-workers, whoever, and they always treat you like you know less, to feel superior over you. And you know, one of the things that happens here for Virgo, it's a lot about what we think, how we communicate, and even how others communicate with us. But the new moon in Pisces, it talks a lot about what we believe in. But it also talks about how our insecurities, we can become obsessed with our insecurities, which can hold us back. So after years of having your insecurities poked at by this person, place, or thing, you only feel like you can only attain so much now. That's what I'm getting here in the present. Oh man, this one, they beat you up here. On an emotional, mental level, they did some work here. What I can say is, don't be hard on yourself, Virgo, for staying, for trying, for, you know, always trying to communicate, always trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is why you need a break. You need a break. You need a break from all of it. On this break, what could happen is you could really just sit there and experience life differently. You could experience life through watching others work, others who work in different areas, different types of work, and see how their load is different from the load that you have been carrying. Maybe you can experience different type of relationships, you know, depending on where you go. A great example is I was talking with a family member, and I work in a career where I get to see couples on a different level that I've never seen before. Where I grew up was in a toxic household, and both sets of parents I grew up with, they weren't into nurturing each other. So I work in an environment where you have spouses, you have these partners, you have these married couples, you have engaged couples, you have just boyfriends and girlfriends that value nurturing each other. And growing up, even working in the different jobs that I've worked, I would have never seen this side to couples. But working in the career that I work in now, I am able to see this side of couples. I hope that makes sense. Maybe, again, this is why it's important for you to take a vacation for yourself. There's something that you're supposed to observe. All right, so let's go ahead and call in the angels of protection. Angels of protection, please help guide us as we navigate the block for the Virgo. First thing out is this Queen of Cups in reverse. Ooh. Queen of Cups to the King of Cups here. It's usually a good match. But I feel like for some reason, this person makes you feel selfish. This person has made you feel really immature. This person has made you felt like that you could be turning your back on them. This person, place, or thing in order for you to even validate yourself, that means you're turning your back on them. For you to want to do anything for yourself, that means you're turning your back on them. All I know is that this Queen of Cups really looks at this narcissist energy, and it really looks at the lovers. Whatever it is, the situation is definitely hard to escape in the mind and in the emotions. So with the Queen of Cups, now the Four of Wands, both falling out reverse, both falling out face down. You are really having a hard time. You're having a hard time going. You're having a hard time letting go. You really were a big nurturer here, especially when it came to putting things together, keeping things together. Maybe came to building somebody up as well. But we're still stuck, confused. We're confused on what's right for us, what's wrong for us, what we should put up with, what we shouldn't put up with. We're confused on who even to trust anymore. Do we trust ourselves? Do we trust all these others? Do I trust this other? Who do I trust? Who do I trust? What else needs to come out? Now this Temperance comes in again. Let's see what else Temperance. So Temperance talks about going between two different extremes. Temperance is also Sagittarius energy, Jupiter energy. Jupiter's all about where we're optimistic, where we can be generous, where we want to manifest things as well. We have this mutable energy coming in again. We have this confusion on how things should be fair. How can things be fair for you, Virgo, here when it's always going between these extremes, I feel like? And you try again to see these extremes from a filtered view. And that filtered view is with those love goggles. Being really, or trying to be really passive when it comes to things that are irritating you, things that are taking from you. I wonder why you're being so passive, Virgo. I'm an energy, I can be passive, but for myself, it only lasts for so long, because then I have a lot of fire in my chart, so then I get pissed. And when I hit that point, oh, get out my way, because the bridge is getting burnt. So what we have here is we got to change. That's definitely being held up with this Tower and the World in reverse. And then we have this Page of Swords. Page of Swords, yes, is a younger energy, but it's also an energy that is overlooking a lot of stuff. And I feel like maybe you're trying to see if you see another opportunity. See if you can see a way to save something. See if you can see a way to fix this. And it's like the more you're trying to see, it means the less that you're able to do about it, to process it, to move on. It's almost like you keep giving the benefit of the doubt. You keep hoping. Oh, wow. These cards keep coming out like this. All right. I am hearing that these are going to be the last 3 cards for the block here. Oh. Okay, so we're all in reverse here. Let's see. So from the Empress to the 6 of Wands to the High Priestess. The whole thing is you don't have confidence, Virgo. You don't have this belief in yourself. You are missing seeing who you really are. It's like when you look at yourself in the reflection of a mirror, it's like this mirror has so much stuff caked on it from the years that have gone by, and you haven't tended to this mirror. You haven't cleaned it up recently. So you really can't see yourself. You can only see this distorted image of you. But if you were to go and actually take time to clean out this mirror so that you can see your reflection, you would actually see who's there. You would see the person who has been dedicated this whole time. This person who still hasn't moved on. This person who's still giving this liar the benefit of the doubt. You're coming in as High Priestess and Empress energy, but you don't see it. You see the quiet opposite. You see how you're more taking. You could see how you're unbearable to be around, or you're putting that somehow it was your fault because it was something you were doing when you were around. You're also not having confidence. Confidence in the wisdom, the things that you've learned over the years about yourself in particular, and what yourself likes, what yourself doesn't like, what yourself needs and what yourself doesn't need. You've really taken a step back from yourself in a sense with this situation here, trying to keep giving it the benefit of the doubt. Oh my goodness, Virgo. Oh my goodness gracious, Virgo. It is hard. It is hard, especially when you've been in a partnership, a relationship, some kind of contract where you've had to deal with somebody talking at you the whole time. This could even be a parent. This talking at you and never taking into consideration how you feel. You know, this other who makes everything about them, and you kind of have to step on eggshells around them. This affects a person to the core. It really, really does. It can give them social anxieties, I would say, which would be a dysfunction in their throat chakra. It would be hard for you to speak up, especially when it comes to dealing with this situation or even handling stuff that is around this situation. As always, Virgo, I always suggest seeking out professional help. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you're incapable. But when you can seek out a professional to talk to, you're able to let this all out. For one, I like talking to a professional because I can get the things off my chest that I want to talk about. Opposed to talking with a family member or a friend, I can only express so much depending on how interested that friend is wanting to hear my problem that day. And that can be hard. Because then I'm not able to express how I really felt, everything that I wanted to get out, and then it stays bottled up and I have to continue thinking that, whatever negative feelings I have been feeling about myself about all of this. Or again, as you go with a professional, you're able to let it out, all of it, and somebody is there just to listen to you, not to interrupt you, not to change the subject on you, but just to let you let it out. This could be something that is really, really good for you. This could be something that helps decompress you. Say what I'm seeing is we've been bloated so much up. Say we're bloated with so much gas and we're filled. And now it's hard to move. We're getting cramps. Our stomach's not feeling well. We can't eat that well because we have so much gas built up. Again, when we seek out that professional, it starts to decompress us. We start to release all that gas. We can finally breathe better. We can move around better. We're less stressed from it. So keep that in mind. A lot of people are under the notion that seeking out professional help is really expensive. Depends on where you go. It depends on who you talk to. If you're on state insurance, a lot of times they do cover you seeing a counselor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, stuff like that. If you have other insurances, give them a call, see what they do cover. If not, going and calling different places, finding you a location that does a sliding scale. A sliding scale is something that goes off of your income when it comes to what your payments would be like. Another thing is going to church and seeking out the counselor at the church. If you're in school, there's a lot of times there's counselors on campus as well. But definitely it needs to be somebody who knows how to actively listen to you. That is a skill. That is a skill that is practiced. That is a skill that's learned. Not everybody has that skill, Virgo. Keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and dive into the conclusion with the divine universal energy, as well as our ancestors here and spirit guides for the Virgo community. Angels, what are the positive messages to come out for the Virgo frequency for this conclusion? What is it? Oh, I felt this one. This is an inner journey, Virgo. This is definitely an inner journey. If you go check out my last new moon, full moon video with new moon being in Pisces, full moon being in your sign, Virgo, which happened about mid this month. What it is we are going to start to, instead of running, instead of obsessing about our insecurities, the fears, the things that hold us back internally, mentally, we are going to go ahead and explore them. And once we start to explore them, we're going to start to understand that we have a right to believe in something different. Yes, we can believe in our fears all we want, but we can believe in our dreams just as much as that. And the way that we start to conquer our fears and we start to build a new belief system with ourselves is through how we take care of ourselves as well. Now, the thing about Pisces, Virgo, is they have the transcendence energy within this house, the 12th house here. Now, that talks about aligning with a energy that is not of the mind, it's of the soul being. Again, what we believe right here at the core of us. And right now, you have been with this situation for a really long time, that what you believe out the core of yourself is not aligning with that soul being. This is why it's an inner journey to let this change happen, to let this tower come down when it comes to dealing with this narcissist and taking off the love goggles, opening up to moving on, and, you know, not being confused when it comes to a person lying to you. It is what it is. There's nothing to be confused about. What else needs to come out? Ooh, joy. Man. The joy in being able to rebalance ourselves by learning how to trust ourselves. I feel like that is the biggest thing. Yes, we've trusted this other person place for so long, hoping that they would have did something different. It would have did something different. It would have came to fruition. But it didn't. We instead of looking at it didn't come to fruition, maybe look at it as it did come to fruition. I just thought about that now. So what I'm seeing is what happens if whatever this was just the fruit that you got here. Say if you were a farmer, you ended up on some land that gets flooded, that gets swampy. That land is no good for you. It's no good for your crops. You miscalculated when you were picking out this land. It happens. Now, how is it that we can sit here and say, well, we don't have to be stuck here forever. We're able to see what's going on, and now we're going to kind of move to something different. Having that joy and recognizing what you need to do for you to take care of you. Because if you can't, again, going back to the farmer, be on a plot of land that's going to produce crops for you, then you're not going to be able to feed your family. You're not even going to be able to make anything or accumulate anything for next season's crops. So again, it's knowing when stuff has just, this is it. This is all we're going to get here. And being okay with that. Opening up to it. Opening up to appreciating that you're able to recognize what's happening, that you're becoming conscious of the limitations that will always be within this situation. You never know. I mean, land could have been, say, like I said, gets really swampy at different times. You could even say there could be tons of trees, so you weren't thinking about how there wasn't going to be much light to grow certain crops. There's a lot of things that can be taken into consideration when it comes to finding a place that you can produce the best things for yourself. But a lot of times it comes after years and years and years of experiences. And these years of experiences haven't been always the best. And remember, it's the roughest ones that teach us the most. And what we talk about with Virgo, when we said that 12-12 energy, now it's coming in as 30. Divine timing. Everything will come into balance. It's definitely going to come into balance, but I feel like that's when you have that coming to conscious with things here, coming to conscious that it is what it is here, this person, place, or thing, and it's never, with you at least, at this particular place, whatever this is, it's not going to do more. Now this has nothing against you, but it's just what was the destined outcome. There was the destined outcome here. This person, this place, this thing hasn't changed. It's not going to change. But you stood evolving. You stood changing. So that's where you became unaligned with it. Now you can go back to unevolving and undoing all those changes, but would you be happy or would you be unhappy? You have to ask yourself that. This is why this is an inner journey. Let's see, what else needs to come out? It's all good. It's all a part of the circle of life here, Virgo. It's all good. You're on this journey. This journey is not going to stop just yet. And as you continue on this journey, the divine wants you to use discernment. Discernment. When it comes to looking at things within this relationship, with this person, place, or thing, a lot of times inner journeys come at the expense of death. But not death as in somebody's not waking up tomorrow. I'm speaking about the 8th house energy. The death card number, isn't it number 13? Yes, of the tarot deck. That is scorpionic energy. Again, transformation through relationships. Again, some of the most roughest things that we go through are with others, but they are the biggest teachers here. This one it was rough. It wasn't fun. And you were overly dedicated because you wanted stuff to work out. That's fine. That is okay. But you've evolved to a point where you realize that your over dedication isn't going to change anything. That's fine. That's okay. Now, how can we do this? How can we let this go? How can we let this season end here so we can start something new? How can we be open to moving on? Be open to understanding that it was a chance that we took, and it is a chance that we definitely learned from. That's all things that we can see on the other side of the coin. I mean, you could totally see how you messed up. You could totally see how you wasted time. You could totally see how, you were so foolish because you even decided to even try and do this, da-da-da-da-da. But if you didn't do it and you didn't take this chance, you would be somewhere else right now saying, I wish I would have, could have, should have type of thing. See, so it's something that was going to happen, whether then or even now. It's a part of growing. What I'm hearing is it's a part of the growing pains of life. Now what this is going to do is it's going to up your standards. And if you choose to move forward, you choose to take this little vacation, you're going to see something. And you know what? You might just value you a little bit more, because you're going to see how much dedication, how much work you put in, and how much you really cared about things. And you might see how rare that is. All right, so let's go ahead. It looks like I need one last card. We'll go lucky number 7. Lucky number 7. What is number 7 for Virgo? Ooh, I like the way that happened. All right, so we have feminine energy here. When feminine energy is in its positive tendencies, it's compassion, acceptance, kindness, and mercy. The biggest warning here is not tipping that feminine energy to the opposite end of the scales here, where you become bitter, where you become compassionless, where you are spewing nothing but venom when it comes to talking about this person, basically. What divine and universal energy are speaking by putting this feminine energy card directly on the narcissist here, touching on the love spell and this vacation, is that opening up, accepting, even having mercy upon the situation. I'm not saying go back to being the doormat so they can walk all over you again. You know, that was in Gemini's too. I'm not gonna lie. Theirs was, don't let yourself be the doormat anymore. But for Virgo in particular, what I see here is the universal and divine energy, your guides don't want you to get wound up from this energy, from what happened, from this betrayal, from the rug being pulled out from under your feet. They want you to have acceptance. They want you to have kindness. They want you to have mercy for yourself, but also for the dumbass who lost you. Whether it's the person, place, or thing. Because they lost a hard worker here. They lost somebody who was really dedicated. And when you start to read up on yourself and you start to see how much positive, how much growth you brought into this, then you're going to see your value, or you're going to start to understand your value. But if you stay wound up with the negative emotions, with the closed off heart chakra because of this, you will be unhappy. You will be unhappy. And the likely chance of you falling in this kind of mess again is a big chance. But not only is it a big chance that you will fall into this type of mess again, there's a very high chance that you will give even more the next time around. And you will accept being given even less. And you will stick it out even longer than what you stuck out this one. But again, if you choose to have discernment when looking upon this, when you go and you take your break from this, if you choose to have discernment on what you think is right versus what you think is wrong, on what was happening here when you took this chance, there's something that you're going to see from a higher view. You're going to understand why everything took so long. Why being able to be aligned with your truth, but how it took going through this in order for you to align with your truth, to align with trusting in yourself too. Sometimes we have to, again, go through something really horrible to teach us specific lessons. This one is definitely for you to trust in yourself opposed to trusting into others more. And having that joy that you know you got your own back and that yourself is always going to be looking out for you. That's if you're opening up, or you're open enough to hear yourself, to validate yourself. Wow, Virgo, this was a good one. All right, so this is going to conclude it. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your patience. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, and spirit guides and divine and universal energy for coming on in with all these positive messages. And I hope that you have a most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.